Hi, Jessica. How are you? Oh, great. We're so excited to have you join us. I don't think you can. Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay, I
Perfect.
can hear you as well.
Okay, great. Welcome to our Insta
Thank
Live chat. We're so excited to have you. For everybody who doesn't know Jessica yet, Jessica Naziri is the founder of TechSesh. So she is the expert that knows all things tech. And we are so excited to pick your brain a little bit today. I'm just waving hi to everybody that keeps joining us. I'm going to ask questions, but anybody that's on with us live today, please ask your questions as well. We're here to have an interactive conversation, and we want to have a really fluid conversation about all things tech. But before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, because Moshi just asked, who's this
Okay.
Jessica you speak of?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. I've been following you for so long, and it's very exciting to finally have this chat together. So, for those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Jessica Naziri, and I'm the founder of TechSesh. So, I initially started as a technology reporter for the LA Times, CNN, and CNBC. And from there, I worked at a startup after I was sick of writing about tech, and I learned the ins and outs of a startup. From there, I decided to leave. I didn't feel like I was doing everything I could in terms of just my abilities, and I really wanted to do my own thing, and I missed reporting. So I started TechSesh because I saw there was a void in the market. I didn't really see a place where there was reporting on female-led technologies. I didn't really see that a lot of the reporting that was out there, a lot of the gadgets that were for women were reported by men. So I said, okay, well, I saw there was a void in the market, and I really, 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 someone said, what do you think about wireless charging? Just reading.
Yeah, I'm like jotting it down while you talk. I'm like, let me not forget. We saw your question, Rohit, and we will make sure it gets answered. I'm jotting them down.
Yes. So I saw there was a void in the market, and I really loved when I would be able to review gadgets, apps, and products. And I loved that I was able to be part of the conversation and helping startups that were creating these products figure out what worked and what didn't work. So TechSesh really started out as content. It was a place for females to come and figure out technology that they could use, a lot with a lifestyle perspective. And from there, I noticed that it turned into a community. A lot of women learned about my experience that I had at that tech startup where I felt like I didn't belong in the tech space. A lot of decisions were made without women being at the table. And I said, well, we need to have a community to foster these conversations so that we can have conversations and lead these next products that we're wearing and using all the time now. So part of it is content. A lot of it's creating content for different brands as well as the website. And now we do monthly meetups where we have roundtables, we have speaking engagements where we can all have conversations and bring more female leaders to the table.
I love it. That's so
Thank you.
I love that things are changing. I mean, I'm sure to the vein you probably, saw the conversations that were happening about Miss America and how even they were using a platform and women just starting to be a bit more vocal and having leadership positions. So it's so great that you've been leading that charge in tech.
Thank you.
And we've been getting a lot of people joining. So I've been saying to everybody coming in. I have a ton of questions for you, but I feel like we went about TechSesh, and I know you mentioned in your recent post today that you were at New York Fashion Week, and there was a lot of things that excited you. So should we start there, because that's so relevant? What was exciting you in the tech world as far as New York Fashion Week?
Absolutely. I mean, something that we saw previously, for example, was Dolce & Gabbana. They had drones come in, fly out with their expensive purses on the drones. And I thought that was such a great activation. Just instead of having models walk down the runway, it was the drones that were strutting these new purses and showcasing the new lines. And then also in the past, we saw a lot with different retailers that are just making this experience more kind of like virtual and incorporating different Snapchat filters, for example, like the filters. And something that's exciting is we see technology going in so many different aspects, but once you know that it hits New York Fashion Week, then okay, technology is here to stay. And so that's something that's super exciting for me, especially.
And how do you think, so yeah, you probably get this all the time, how tech lives with humanity and stuff like that. So you mentioned drones replacing models, but really a compliment to the other, right? it's not taking away the humanization of it, but you know, it adds to like the futuristic kind of conversation of today. And
you make a really great point. It's not that we're trying to replace these models. That will never happen. Supermodels are going to stay there forever, but it's an addition. It's a new way to tell the story. And I think technology is enabling that to happen. We're telling stories, and it's a personalized digital experience, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And so what else in that vein has been piquing your interest lately, if you had to name like your top 3 integrations of technology into retail today?
So it's all really built in on big data, deep learning, and deeper analytics. So really when we think of like the use of beacons or MPOs, which is mobile point of sale, near field communication, so Bluetooth technology, these are things where a lot of retailers are enabling this, where someone thinks tech is controlling human beings. I'm going to make these little comments because I think that's really funny.
I know, but I think that person laughed at themselves, so that's good.
That's good, exactly. So all these different technologies, retailers are using them, and when a customer walks into the store, so the second they pick something up, we are getting all this information, so that makes it so much more relevant to the user. And initially, you know, as a user, you're a little afraid. You know, we never thought that by using our voice we can order groceries, but this is slowly coming the new norm. And with these new technologies, they'll greet us by our names. And I would love that if I walk into a store, someone's greeting me by my name. They know why I'm there, what I want to pick up. So it's a seamless experience. And like I said, it's personal. Being personal to me is the most important.
Yeah, I think personal is so important. There's always these conversations. Do we want facial recognition? Is that creepy? Does it make, you know, does it, but if they can prove that it enhances your experience, then I do. I mean, I do appreciate if I walk into Starbucks and they say, "Hi, Melissa," and they know that I want my latte with skim milk in a certain way. It has that, it gives me that local neighborhood feel, even though I'm shopping like a mass retailer, essentially.
Exactly, and you bring up a really great point. It is just that like local experience. Oftentimes when we think of technology, we think of it being invasive. We think of it just making us more antisocial, but it's kind of bringing together a sense of community. It's kind of bringing together a formalization. It's bringing together a conversation where normally someone wouldn't know your name. So I think there's something important to be said about that as well.
And what do you think are some of, like, if you were to think about, and I'm going to go back to wireless because I know that came up. But as far as data collection, because I can talk from my point of view, you know, we work with retailers to open stores all the time, and they always ask, what can I learn? And, you know, when it comes to data collection, and I think there's those basics, you know, how many people walk in the door and what paths are they taking, but is there anything new or kind of top of mind right now that you think retailers should really think about when it comes to what they can learn about a customer?
Yes. So I think that when they walk into a store, this is information that we already want to have, but more than that, knowing what the customer wants and why they're coming in. You know, when you're greeted by someone, they're like, "Hi, is there anything that I can help you with?" Or "Are you looking for anything?" So it's either yes or no, and then you lose the point of sale if it's a no, right? But if you're going into a store, you have that personal experience. Maybe there's data visualization, like you said, once we get really to that point and people are more okay with it. It's just like, you know what size they are, and let's say they don't have your size. When you have an inventory, so they don't allow you to leave the store. They say, "Okay, we'll ship this to you." So when you continue that conversation, make sure that it's personal, you're getting what you want, and you pretty much walk out with exactly what you needed and more.
Yeah, somebody asked, I was recently on a panel, and they said, you know, if you had all the power in the world, what would you change about a store? And I would like to take away a salesperson's ability to say, "I don't know."
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because with technology, they should know. They should know. Do you have my size? Is it located in this store? Can you ship it to me from somewhere else? Is it on your online destination? So I think having all of those different platforms communicate together is great. I love everybody joining it. Keep waving hi to all of you.
Yeah, hi guys.
And you can ask questions too. You know, there's obviously a lot of mixed emotions about facial recognition and technology and data collection, but I think that's great. You know, James voiced that opinion and others because that is important to the conversation. I think a lot of us underestimate how much we're already doing that. I mean, anybody that owns a phone is doing that on a daily basis, right? So it's like, now how do we get it to work for us?
And you bring me to another point, our phones. That for many people now is the way we're doing all of our shopping. Often people are saying there will be no more brick and mortar. Sometimes I go back and forth with that. We do have those flagship stores. We do have those pop-ups. Those experiments I love. I love walking into a pop-up shop that I know will only be there for about 2 weeks. And it's an experience that I'm walking into and I'm super excited about. But at the same time, most people think that, like, I don't need to walk into a store anymore. I have my phone and it can do everything for me. So, you know, I go back and forth. Do people want brick and mortar? Will there just be one store for one flagship store? I don't know. That's like the future of retail, the future of brick and mortar. I keep going back and forth. I do want to touch and feel clothes. I hate that I have to buy a small and a medium to make sure what fits, right? And it's never consistent. Sometimes I'm like, well, I'm a small in one piece of clothing and another item is a different size. So those times I'm like, yes, I need brick and mortar. I want to go in. I want to touch it. I want to have that experience. And often I'm like, our phones are so good. You press a button and boom, there is your dress.
Oh, no, absolutely. Speaking of like one app, and I'd love to know your thought on this, like an app I love to shop on.
Yeah.
These days is Run Through Runway, because I can just scroll through my app and I can create hearts and lists and occasions. I like this dress for my Tuesday talks. I like this for business meetings. I like this for black tie. But I think, you know, that's our challenge, right, at the Lioness Group, is always making sure that we make physical is an important touch point, but what it's needed for isn't the same as it was a year ago or 2 years ago, because technology continues to open up our expectations, right? We didn't 5 years ago. I didn't live on an on-demand world. I couldn't, you know, buy anything I want. There was like, you know, last mile had a totally different meaning than it does today, right? Same day shipping, be at my house in 2 hours. None of that existed. So the point of physical really has to be so experiential, and it has to answer the things that online just can't. Like you're talking about fit. Things that ignite your senses, right? You can't do scratch and sniff on an e-commerce site yet.
Not yet, exactly. Not yet.
So compensate for that. But what are you seeing to that vein when it comes to like actually using your phone for mobile payments, right? Because there's using your phone shopping an e-commerce site. One area I haven't seen really adopted as much yet is mobile payments through your phone. I think it's still a small percentage. What do you think there?
So, you know, it is a small percentage. And besides the convenience and ease, there's so many issues right now happening with hackers and your credit card information being stolen. And I see a lot of fishy things happening online. I think it does make things easier, and we're going onto that wave where, you know, there's PayPal that just makes everything quick and easy if you have that on there. And it's just easy, especially when you're walking in through the stores and you just, you know, use your mobile wallet and boom, it's paid for. You don't need to actually bring out your actual wallet. You just bring out your phone. So that's something that I feel like the technology is there, but because of the different things that are happening in terms of safety online, I think it's a little bit slow to come.
Yeah, safety for sure. And it is, it's a different, I use Starbucks, I bring them up again, but I use them for the mobile, right? And then I want to run and go get a manicure. I want to go do something else, but I didn't walk out the door with my wallet, so I can't be as spontaneous as I want to. And what's interesting to me is like retailers, there's certain companies like the Amazons and Starbucks and those of the world that move the needle because they reshape what we think is possible. And so the onus becomes on all the other retailers to figure out, like, how do I keep up with that? Because as a consumer, I don't think, oh, you're this brand, so you're going to offer me you're this brand, so you're going to offer me this. I just expect fluidity in my life.
Yes, exactly. It's all about the convenience, right? I mean, I no longer have keys to my home. And I know I'm going off subject a little bit. I don't have keys, and I also don't drive. So I literally walk out with my wallet, and pretty soon I'll only need my phone. To get into my home, I just press a code, and then I use my phone to order an Uber or a Lyft, and then sometimes I use mobile payments, but pretty soon I won't even need my purse anymore.
Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy. So to that vein, I guess that kind of goes to the question we got at the beginning of our call about wireless, right? And not just wireless charging. I mean, yes, I think it's definitely a benefit when stores or mall properties have charging stations, because that's like a service that will drive in traffic and make people want to stay. But when it comes to technology, one of those friction points for sure is locations that don't have strong Wi-Fi, No. So are there other things that you see, like hurdles that tech companies are trying to get over if they're wanting to make sure that they create a good in-store or retail experience?
Yes, so that's a really great point. What you said is not having Wi-Fi. That's just a basic, right? Now, what you're seeing is most stores that you go into, it's an experience, and with that experience, it's aesthetically pleasing. And so, I like to call it like it's Instagrammable. You find a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels, a lot of different retailers are doing well, not because they may be the best, not because they provide the best service or best food, but really it's just like aesthetically pleasing, and they're putting it on Instagram, and that drives more traffic. So while that sounds, not as important, and I feel like that is part of the experience, that's part of being personal, I think that now we know that it's important to be personal. It's important to drive awareness through like a personalized experience, but even more so than that, a lot of different companies are creating products slowly for that person. So you get to decide what color it should be and what feel. And it's going personal on an even higher level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on that, what are your feelings and thoughts when you talk about seeing colors? So like, what are your thoughts on augmented reality and retail?
So I am such a big proponent of augmented reality and virtual reality. I've had so many different use case scenarios, and it really enables you to put yourself in a different position and a different way of thinking and go through an actual experience that you might not have in the past. One experience, not retail, but I did an event where I was wearing different like body metrics and also virtual reality, and I was able to try different foods that I would have on a cruise. So it was like a cruise ship experience where they incorporate virtual reality, right? Or I did something else back when I was in New York, and I was wearing these a watch and a headband that was able to track my biometrics, and it put me through different simulations in different rooms. One was like a room that was raining. One was like a room that looked like a mountainous area. One looked like a very like beachy area, and through those experiences and my biometrics, they decided and told me what kind of vacations I was seeking.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, while that's not exactly retail, at the same time, you could use that kind of scenario in the retail experience. For example, you're about to buy a bathing suit, to give you that aura and feel, putting on your virtual reality or looking at something through augmented reality and thinking that you're on the beach. Like, do you feel comfortable in this bathing suit? So there's so many different scenarios.
Yeah, I love that. So what vacation did they recommend for you?
It's so funny. So my next vacation, I will be on a beach and not moving. There's a difference between a vacation and traveling. And for me, traveling is like walking around, going to the next destination, and then, or that's vacation. And the traveling is just a lot of walking and planning. And I just prefer to just lay low, read a book, and not move and just tan in the sun.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's needing that these days for sure. So I have a couple of, I'm just looking to see if I missed any. Yeah, when it comes to, so we talked kind of about segments like drones and AR and VR. Are there any like tech companies, female led or not, that you have your eye on right now?
Wow, yes. Actually, there's a really great augmented reality company led by female here in Los Angeles. And I just forgot her name, which is really great. But I will put a link down below once we end this chat. So she does a lot of experimental with VR. She started like a hologram company, and you see that. So that's definitely changing a lot. We see a lot of uses of hologram. For example, this past year we had a huge event with in Palm Springs. I'm sorry, I need a coffee right now. At Coachella. At Coachella, we saw so many use cases, like putting together an immersive experience, bringing together music at a huge venue.
Yeah, I really want to learn more about this hologram, because this is coming up a bit too in our work. We have a couple of clients that we're working with right now, and in two instances, a hologram experience is part of what we've pitched to them for their. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
So I have to learn who you're speaking about.
Yeah. Oh, it's Vitana.
Vitana.
Okay. Yeah.
Vitana. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and we're going to do a recap of this, so we'll include that in there. Yeah. So I think this has been, I'm just like looking through to see if there's any questions that came through. I have one, and then I have just two fun ones before we go. So as far as tech, so there's technology that's the bells and whistles, and it has the cool aspect, and I think there's a lot of conversations around VR of does it really convert or does it not? And I think it has to be relevant to the experience. But in your experience, what technologies do you think do help convert sales the most?
What technologies help convert sales the most? You know, this is basic. This is not really so much technology, but even newsletters when we're personalizing people's names. That's one thing. And then also,
sorry about New York, by the way. It's New York behind me, so I apologize for all the horns.
No, you're totally fine.
In case somebody heard you, what you said was it seems basic, but personalization through email marketing. Is that what you said?
Absolutely, absolutely. That goes a really long way when you're getting so many emails within a day, and you have something that actually has your name, which is not so often. People are just like, "Hi, how are you?" Getting to the point. They're like, "Hi, Jessica. You know, we have a sale for blah blah blah." I think that personalization goes a really, really long way. And then in terms of just the pop-up shop experiences, I think that we have great products in the retail markets, but the products don't sell themselves. It's the story, it's the experience. So telling that story, you can do that through so many ways. And one way really, I think, is through virtual reality and augmented reality. And that's being implemented in so many different ways. So I want to see how that goes. And something that I've been hearing about, just talking about the future going forward, is trolleys that will locate you GPS based, that they figure out like, okay, you're turning right now on this aisle. How long were you in this section for? How long did you hold up this shirt for? So different technologies that are beacon based and GPS based, I think that goes a really, really long way in figuring out the psychology of the customer. And those are things that you really, really want to implement to really make sure that they, you have an idea of where they're thinking, where they're going, and what their next moves are, especially for the next time they come around.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And then if the company does their homework, they can then, you know, deduct how do you want to be spoken to, and what do you care about, and what is your journey.
Right.
Okay, well, before we go, because this is lots of good tidbits that we're going to summarize on our blog, but
great.
Two things. One, where do you love to shop these days?
Okay, I love ASOS. That's one of my favorite stores online. And again, I go back and forth, like, do I want to walk into the store? I live right across from a major mall here in Los Angeles, the Beverly Center. And like, it's such a drag getting there, even though it's really across the street. And then online, it's like, will it fit? Will it not fit? Oftentimes it does, and they have a really great selection on ASOS.
ASOS, I am a fan of that. And then the fun, what is like, if you're in LA, where's the spot you have to eat these days?
Oh, wow. The spot you have to eat is EPLP. It's a beautiful rooftop here in West Hollywood, overlooking all of the city. Great food, really great drinks, and the atmosphere is definitely chic. And I think that's something that also adds to the whole like retailer experience when you go out and about. I think it's the aura that you're coming with and leaving with as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Design, you know, people when they talk about design with us and they say, I want Instagrammable moments. And I always say, you don't have to think that specifically. Like, yes, there's going to be specific moments, but there's no reason the whole environment can't be aspirational, inspiring, and Instagrammable. Because if it's beautiful and on brand, people are going to want to take pictures of that too.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Well, it was so great chatting with you today.
Yes, it's so fast. We have so much more to talk about. We have to do this again.
I know, absolutely. And we will have this living on our site. This will live live for the next 24 hours, and then we will send you the link when it's on our site. And Jeffrey Roseman says, great interview. So glad you can join us and everybody else that made the chat today.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.